Just wait for a few people to come on. Waiting. Should have some music playing, so I'm not on my own. There's 11. Good early afternoon to people. It's 2:30. Can you believe it? Okay, what I'm doing now is I'm just going. We were in Ballarat yesterday. Ballarat, we're getting people on. Hi, Pamela. Hi, Becky. Hi, Linda. We're getting people on. So we walked around the crowd and we interviewed people in the crowd, and the town was saying they were all far-right extremists, of course. Hi, Nicole. Far-right extremists, of course, white supremacists and all that. So we took some images, but these are the people that we met. The interesting thing is that they closed the city, apparently, and they even closed the Eureka Museum, and we were there to celebrate the Eureka Stockade revolution, uprising, and they closed the museum. So it shouldn't laugh, it should be serious, but it's crazy. So anyway, these are the people we met, and I'll play this through you and see how you go. I hope you enjoy it. This is filmed by Barry.
The Eureka Stockade, otherwise known as the Eureka Rebellion, took place on the 3rd of December in 1854. The rebellion was the culmination of long-standing grievances on the part of miners over exorbitant miner licence fees, brutal police procedures for collecting fees, lack of votes, and a lack of reputation in the Legislative Council. So can you believe that we are still facing the issues that we are today, even though that has happened in our past in 1854?
United under the Southern Cross, we stand truly by each other and fight to defend our rights and liberties!
I'm here to stand for the Eureka spirit. It's my town, Ballarat. I want us all to be free to make our own choices, for our children not to be harmed in any way.
I'm marching for the kids mostly. We're very, very concerned about their freedoms and what sort of a future they're going to have in this country if we don't do something now.
For our freedom, to save our children.
I'm here to stand and make a voice for our 3 children. When it comes to vaccines, you need to have long-term data. There's no long-term data. We're in the clinical trial, so usually they're not passed until they've passed the clinical trial. And we don't want to be a part of that trial. We're going to be the control group. And most vaccines, I think, take us 7 years minimum to be passed through, and we're only 12 months into it. So in terms of the science, that's enough for me. And secondly, as a nurse and a midwife, when it comes to informed consent and informed choice, that has to be free of coercion, manipulation and discrimination. We learn that first year uni. And what's happening right now is discrimination, coercion, manipulation. As a nurse, if you can't see that, then there's something wrong with you, because it's core principles. It's end of the story, end of the day. It's core principle. It's our rights.
We're here in a skate park in Ballarat. There's a sort of an argument to how many people are here. Some guy came up to me, he reckons about 3,000. And it's a lovely crowd, a lovely day. And they're all here to fight for their kids. They don't want the kids mandated, and they want their jobs back. And it just shows you that the Victorians everywhere are very disgruntled about what's going on. And so we're going to go talk to some of them.
I'm here for myself, I'm here for my children, I'm here for the concept of liberty. I'm deeply concerned about what's happening in our country and, and everywhere in the world.
Are you baffled by how it's now?
Well, I've been following, I guess, alternative media for quite a long time, and I've always been interested in politics, so I guess I've always felt that maybe something like this could happen, but not in this package. Now when everything has come together, I sort of feel like
And do you feel there's
it
a lot
makes
of
sense.
overreach?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's beyond overreach, really, and you can see where it can potentially lead. So,
Which is?
Something akin to the Second World War, perhaps.
Yeah. Kim, why are you here at a protest today?
Save my kids, make the world wake up. Common
Wake
sense.
up to what?
Common sense.
So you think basically we're not doing common sense anymore? Everything's a bit crazy?
Yeah, like I'm 38 years old and I've never lived in a world where we've been forced to do something under these pretenses. All the evidence is showing us otherwise, and people just look at you like you're an idiot when you tell them that. It's like there's no need for any of this. Where's our treatment? Why are we segregated? Why are you pushing this? Why is our government pushing us? Why can't my child go into anything? Why can't I go to his graduation? I got to sit out the front and watch him graduate through the windows like a leper. Like never in my life. My grandmother grew up in Greece. She remembers the Nazis. She remembers hiding from them, and to be referenced to that, it's like, you have no idea. Why is it so easy? Because I'm the minority? Nah. I refuse to believe that.
And can I ask you one other question?
Yeah.
What happens when someone gets between a cub and their mother?
Oh, we're ferocious. You don't want to get between me and my babies, and I got 4 of them. So from 12 to 7 months. Ain't going to happen. You'll have to find me first. Daniel Andrews, come find me.
I'm Karen. I'm passionate about freedom. And look, I've been sort of keeping an eye on this for a long time. I knew it was coming, and the sad part is it's arrived. So I'm really proud to be a Ballaratian, and I'm really proud that all these Ballaratians have showed up today and really given strength and showing the historic moment and saying no more. It's ending here now. We can't take this anymore. We've had enough, and it has to finish.
Are you amazed how we're still fighting, even though we lost the bill, that we're still going?
Yes, look, the passion's there, and I really believe that, the young ones are now, the parents with the young children. We've been talking to quite a few people here today, and the parents with young children are so upset, so distraught, and they're walking away from the whole system. The system is going to collapse, and it has to collapse. It has to. It's just not working.
Give us a word of hope, because there's a girl that comes on our show, and what she says is, we have a moral right not to sell hopelessness. So give us some hope and make it real.
Yeah. Our promised land's coming, guys. Our promised land's coming, and it's only around the corner. So just hold on. Hold the line. It's just around the corner. Keep firm. Hold the truth. It's all going to fall down, and we're going to have a better world. So stay strong.
Now, Adrian, why are you here today?
We're here for my family. And so my children can kind of grow up and be able to be free, have the life essentially that we've had. We kind of grew up in a country town where we had a really nice life growing up that way there. And I'd like for them to be able to enjoy the same freedoms and the same life that we had when we were children. So yeah, that's pretty much about it. That's why we're here.
One of the big things they've gone is they think there are Nazis in the crowd, and I finally found one. What's your name?
Josh. How you going?
Josh. How long you been a Nazi, Josh?
Oh, since never.
Now, why are you here really with your lovely brothers?
We're just here to support change. I mean, we've seen so much corruption in the government, and also with this mandates, they've just come out and forced people to do something that should be their choice. And we believe in choice. We're not against people taking the vaccine. We support their view if they want to take it, but we're just not for people forcing it on someone who doesn't want it. And so that's why we're here for their rights.
Well, don't you think that basically the foundation of freedom is choice?
That's right, exactly.
If you don't have choice, you're a slave.
Exactly. And slavery, we've finished that. That's an old thing everyone should have learnt from history, and we should be ready to now move on.
Hey, Steve. Thanks for just coming up and saying g'day, mate. You were just saying how much you're enjoying Cafe Locked Out, and you're saying you've recently just thought it was time to come out into the open and express what you feel about this agenda that's going on. And could you just talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, thanks, Damo. Look, really, all the lockdowns living in central Victoria, it's probably had the least amount of effect on me. I'm a farmer, so I can just go out to farm work. But watching all this unfold over the last 2 years, and obviously doing the right thing, there was something inside me that was uneasy. And then obviously as things developed, when the builders got locked out, the rubber bullets after that on the streets, and starting to learn how Dan and the politicians think and act has made me feel uneasy that I see them working for us is giving us less benefits.
Maybe they're not working for us at all.
Yeah, well, I'm probably a bit slow on the uptake, but so rather than just doing a thumbs up on the Facebook page to other people that were obviously more outspoken than me or had the guts to post stuff, I went down to the first Melbourne rally there a few weeks ago. I've done a few now.
You said you've done 4, haven't you? Been to 4 of them?
Yeah. And I just felt sitting at home and watching it all play out, I had to try and do a bit more. And obviously, this is probably the most we can do. I'm not a gun owner or I'm not that outspoken.
So was it a surprise to your friends when you came out into the open with your opinions about what you see as a clear agenda?
Yes, well, the division runs deep and it's obviously, well, I thought it was growing by the day, but I'd like to stop that. So to maybe help other people realise what I think's going on is maybe what I'm trying to achieve.
And have you had the surprise? Because I've had a surprise. Sometimes I'll get support in the most unlikely place that I wouldn't have even expected. Have you found that to be the case for you as well?
Yeah, people have reached out to me that they might be on your edge of your Facebook group of friends or whatever, and there's a lot more people out there that feel obviously the same way I feel. So it's nice to come together on these occasions now to support each other, to learn more. What I've learnt in the last 4 weeks is huge. And like I say, I could have just kept living life quite simply, quite easily, out there farm with the.
But for how long?
Yes, correct. Yeah, and that's what we can feel now. So it's interesting times. We've got teenage children, 24 and 19.
And how's your wife feel about the agenda and your involvement with it?
Very torn. She would probably support me more than she plays the game on the other side of the fence, being jabbed and keeping a job. So, but I know she's torn. We're at the age where we're thinking about starting to wind down a bit, but I feel this is probably a bit of my cause at the moment.
And so this must give you a real heart. I mean, when you were driving here today, did you imagine there'd be this many people in the goldfields in Ballarat?
Yeah, well, I think Bendigo and Ballarat are huge ALP towns. Obviously, I'm probably been a Conservative voter all my life. I'm as disillusioned as anybody, but it gets back to my guts that we can't keep going the way that we're being led. We've got to put up a bit of resistance, for Christ's sake. That's how I feel.
It's one of the biggest turnouts for a protest that we've had in Ballarat. So I've lived here all of my life, and so you never know what to expect, because I think the media actually didn't highlight a lot of the concerns of the community.
I heard that the local media probably were a little bit harsh about what sort of people would be turning up today, and maybe people should stay away because they should be scared of us. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. I did hear on the local radio station that one of the events got cancelled to move to next weekend, and they actually said that it was an unrelated event that's not connected to the Eureka commemoration. But this is part of Eureka. This is commemorating what they did to fight for freedoms and to fight for liberty, and we're in a fight at this stage in Victoria as well.
We don't learn much in our history books about it, do we? That because 30 diggers died standing up against, I think it was Governor Hotham at the time, and unreasonable demands for a mining licence. And so we actually have a history of resistance. So it sort of works perfectly for what we're resisting at the moment, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely. People can easily dismiss the Eureka movement because there wasn't a huge amount of people involved, but what it symbolises The fact that not very many people died doesn't matter in the whole scheme of things, because it's what they were fighting for and what they were trying to actually...
I think it's quite an extraordinary thing that like 30 people would be killed by troopers of the state of Victoria. Like that's a lot of people to die in one battle. I can't imagine that happening in Australian history.
Well, what we've seen with the protests in the last 2 years has been clear that history is repeating itself in some respects. We saw violent protests a couple of months ago where the police actually hunted down some of the protesters. There were protesters that actually wanted to avoid the police at all costs because they're fearful. They just want the right to uphold their right to protest against tyranny, to protest against totalitarianism, and the police actually denied them their rights through violence.
Tell us just your first name.
Carol.
Carol, now you used to be a minister in the Salvation Army?
Yes, I was a captain.
Okay, and what do you feel at the moment that the op shops are segregating people, not allowing the unvaccinated in?
It's not right, it's not Christian. They should rethink of what God would have them do, not what they want to do, because our human self says that we should follow the government. But they're not following the government, they're following the Christian way. And it shouldn't be so. They should be letting everybody in. I mean, William Booth, the founder of the Salvation Army, said, go for souls and go for the worst. And, it's the people who are in the gutter, the people who are ordinary people who provide for their families, and they've lost their vision, They are not looking after the people anymore, and only their own. And they're all sitting on their pews in church, just seat warming. And they really need to get out and fight for the people, not for their own selfishness.
So do you think Jesus, they keep saying about Jesus, wouldn't do this, he'd go with the lepers, but do you think he'd go with the lepers if the lepers had COVID?
Of course he would. Of course he would. I don't even know a funny comeback for that either.
And you're from Liverpool.
And I'm from Liverpool. I'm a long-haired jobbo from Liverpool.
Yeah. Thanks so much.
Thank you very
much. Good on you.
Okay, good.
God bless.
God bless the people of Australia. Thank you.
My name's Kelly.
And then what do you do, or what did you used to do?
Well, I used to be a wildlife rescuer for Wildlife Victoria in Melbourne.
And what does that mean?
Well, what it means is all of us rescuers and carers that are, it's a non-profit organisation. Wildlife Victoria is our telephone call centres, where if we need help with the Australian wildlife, us volunteers get the call and we go out there and rescue the wildlife as best as we can. And right now, because of Andrew's put in these vaccine mandates, a lot of us carers and wildlife, like myself, who have been stood down because we do not want to get the jab for health reasons. And now the Wildlife Victoria is in a lot of trouble due to the fact that a lot of wildlife aren't getting attended to the scenes. I do work with macropods, which are kangaroos, and a lot of them get hit by cars. And if they're there for hours and hours and hours in pain, none of us are there to help. So I was very shattered. I've had my fair share of tears that I can't go out there and do my part for Australia like I was. And now I've got to miss out because of Andrew's law, which I cannot understand why us wildlife rescuers are not frontliners. We deal with animals. Mainly all my cases are out in the paddock, so I'm not dealing with people. I'm dealing with the animals themselves. So I can't understand why I'm a health risk to anybody else. And that's just the sad thing about what we're going through. And there's many of us like myself that are going through the same thing, and we are trying to get our positions back so then we can do our part for Australia. Australia's in trouble with wildlife because wildlife, we are the most endangered species in the country. So therefore the wildlife do need us a lot, especially in summertime when it comes to bushfires and all that. Our animals are declining, and as many volunteers as we can get really greatly helps. And at the moment they're not getting that, and I do worry about this summer and what's going to happen to them all. So yeah, it's been a big concern.
All right, so we're here in Ballarat to an incredible turnout of people of all walks, all here united together, right, ladies? Yes, we're sitting here in our sister circle right now, and we're holding space for each other and actually really just feeling into what's going on. What are our stories? How is this impacting us? What is going on? Who wants to start? Marie, tell us. What's your story, Marie?
Well, my personal story is that I worked for a particular company and I'm no longer allowed to work there because I'm not vaccinated. But earlier on, or just before in the crowd, I witnessed some media come into the middle of the crowd and there was a girl there all dressed all hippie and really crazy who started a fight in the middle of the crowd, and it was all staged. It was definitely staged. And then when they got what they wanted, they walked back off through the crowd, and she did a high five with the girl that she was acting with. So I went up to her and I said, "Great acting." And she was like, "Oh, I don't know what you're talking about." And it was very obvious that she was an actress. So that kind of thing is just really upsetting.
Yeah, you got to watch those actress types, don't you?
Not like you, Carla. You're the good actress. Aww. This girl was, on the wicked side, shall we say?
Yeah. And this is really disconcerting that now we've got, the women coming through and wanting to get violent and aggressive, and it's really disheartening. So
peace and love and light. That's what we're here for, and freedom to uphold our rights and liberties. And we don't need violence. If we can do this without violence, that's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Take quite a bit for us to get to that point, I think, quite a bit.
Yeah.
So it's like you said, it's part of the media's ways to distract or put a dark light on us and make us look like we're all bad people, but we're not. We're just everyday Aussies that have lost their jobs or lost their livelihoods and are struggling, and we want to take our country back and stand up for our rights and freedoms.
That's right. And it's all about also, being the lionesses of our kingdoms. It's about our kids, right? Absolutely. It's about, you touch our kids, our lioness is going to, she'll lunge.
Oh, mama bears. Yeah, we're mama bears. Look out.
Yeah. Thanks, Mel. And Big Mel, have you got something for us as well?
Well, I don't know where to start. I was a cleaner right through COVID, and I was cleaning at a construction site, so that was the first thing I was kicked off. And then I was cleaning for a 95-year-old lady. Then the family requested a fully vaccinated person. Obviously, that wasn't going to be me. During lockdown, I wasn't just a cleaner. I was a carer. I was a friend. I was an ear. I was a hug. I was lots of things, and they took that away from me. They didn't let me say any goodbye to any of my clients. Oh. I worked with many clients that had mental health issues. So, that was heartbreaking. And what they did to me, I wasn't getting the jab. They knew I wasn't getting the jab, but they sacked me. They sacked me for misconduct. I talked to Michael that had severe mental health issues. I was trying to reassure him because he was my friend. We become friends. I sat down. He called me his angel because I treated him like he was a human. I sat down, I had smokes with him, I had coffees with him, and we become really good friends. I went to his house twice a week, every week, for right through COVID. And I just told him that I'm probably going to get the sack, but you will not lose me. I was just trying to reassure him that I would still be his friend. I would call around and see him. I probably wouldn't be able to clean for him anymore. And I didn't get the chance to say goodbye to him, which is devastating. I had him out of my house. His carer brought him out to my house. We had friends that took him out on a motorbike, tricycle, bike and everything. Sat out the back with the fire and had a couple of beers with me and my partner. So, yes, it was absolutely devastating. Then he rang told his carer that I want to keep Melinda. I do not want to lose Melinda. And they put in a formal complaint about me because I was telling him what to do. And another client had complained about me because apparently I was telling him what to do as well. And they sacked me for misconduct. So not only am I unemployable now, I've got a big black mark against my name. I didn't breach any company policies. I simply was treating people like people.
Oh, that's disgraceful. And now, now we've left these elderly isolated. From women who are nurturing and loving and bring all of this comfort to people in these times. And now we're just allowing our elderly to be isolated. I mean, we're not allowing it, but this is what they're creating. It's disgraceful.
Yeah, so that the elderly don't want to surround them as well.
Yeah.
It's sad. It's so sad.
Absolutely. And Sherry, share your story with us, Sherry.
Oh, which part? It's like, where do you start? So a couple of years ago, I was very unwell and went to a doctor and a specialist and was told that I had an autoimmune disease and that I would have it for life and I would have to be on medication for life. And I've never I don't even like taking, headache pills if I can. And so I healed myself basically with diet and lifestyle. And then I grew up not with my family of origin, and so I got my welfare records a little while ago, and then I got my health records. And on my health records, people say, why are you so concerned? It's just a vaccine. You've had vaccines before. Well, it's not a vaccine, first of all, but it's like when I got my health records, my grandmother had requested my vaccination records so I could go to kindy, I suppose, or school. And in the records, they said that I'd never had them. And so I don't know, my gut feeling when all of this started to kind of blow up was I've never had any of the vaccines. I've never had a flu vaccine. I had an autoimmune disease, which I'm in remission from now without any medication, and I just feel like if I had this, it would take me out. I don't know, and so when, and I was working as a domestic violence, family violence counsellor, and when they started making noise about, the vaccination and we're going to need your information, and I was like, can we have a consultation? I'm not, I haven't had it yet. I'm still gathering information. And then there were other emails that came out, and I just thought, I just can't be a part of this where I'm involved in not only me having to have it and not being able to continue to do my job and serve the people that I was serving, but also inflicting that on other people. And so I wasn't fired, but I did resign because I just thought I just can't be a part of it. It's just, and it was heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But I'm fortunate, I'm resilient and I've got skills and I will do other things. So now I'm doing counselling in my own private practice, and I also work out of another clinic. And so I've got some work coming in and it'll build. I have faith that it will build.
Yeah. So. And it's about leaning into faith, isn't it? I know I've had this conversation with a few of you now. It's about us leaning into faith, and it's all we've got right now. And that can be a terrifying thing because it's not something tangible. It's just a belief that a faith, even I was saying, even to lean into to trust. It's like if you're having to trust, you're not in faith. So we've just got to lean into this and follow what our truth is.